They fired me for blocking innovation. The next morning, the NSA shut the whole building down. My name is Ryan Matthews. I'm 47, and for most of my life I've made a living doing something nobody applauds. I keep people out of prison. Not the dramatic kind of prison you see on TV. The quiet kind, where executives in expensive suits suddenly learn what the Espionage Act looks like in black and white paperwork. I'm a senior cyber compliance officer at a defense contractor called Foresight Analytics. If that sounds boring, that's the point. Boring means we're safe. Boring means we don't end up on the news. But the last week before Christmas, my job stopped being boring. It started with a login that should have been dead for 5 years. A ghost account. And a CEO's son who thought rules were just suggestions. Most people think cybersecurity is a guy in a hoodie typing fast. The truth? It's me. A coffee mug that tastes like regret. And audit logs that never lie. On a Friday at 3:04 a.m., an account called devadmin12 pinged our classified environment. Devadmin12 should not exist. It was a legacy key from an old subcontractor, revoked, archived, and buried like a body in the desert. But there it was. Active. I stared at the screen like I'd just found a stranger wearing my uniform. I called Kevin Brooks, our IT director. Kevin answered on the first ring, too fast, like he'd been waiting for the call. Kevin, I said. Why is devadmin12 alive? Silence. Not thinking, silence. Panic silence. Then he whispered, I didn't authorize it. Who did? Another pause. Then the words came out like poison. Hunter Sterling. I closed my eyes. Hunter Sterling. The CEO's 28-year-old son. The Chief Innovation Strategist. A title that meant, my dad owns the building. Hunter had been floating around for months, talking about AI disruption, speed over security, and other things you say when you've never watched an audit destroy a company. Kevin, I said, Hunter doesn't have clearance for that system. I know, Kevin said, voice shaking. But, his dad ordered it. His dad. Jason Sterling. CEO. The kind of man who thinks confidence is the same thing as competence. He walked into my office yesterday, Kevin continued. Said compliance is stifling innovation. Told me to reactivate the ghost key. Ryan, he used his executive override. I couldn't stop it. I leaned back in my chair and felt that cold, familiar drop in my stomach. Because that wasn't bad policy. That was federal crime territory. Kevin, I said calmly, did you document the order? He hesitated. I wrote it on a sticky note. I almost laughed. Almost. A sticky note. We were one mistake away from national news and Kevin wrote the smoking gun on office stationery. Okay, I said. Listen carefully. You're going to forward me every ticket, email, and message connected to this. Right now. He swallowed. Ryan, now, Kevin. He said, okay. I hung up and opened a secure terminal that didn't belong to Foresight. It belonged to the people who don't ask twice. I filed a report to a federal compliance intake channel. Not to HR. Not to the board. Not to ethics. To the kind of agency that shows up with badges and silence. Title, Unauthorized Access Attempt to Compartmented Datasets. Priority, Immediate. Then I watched the logs like a hawk watches a mouse. Because I knew what was coming. And I knew exactly who they'd blame first. Monday morning, they called an all-hands meeting. That's how corporate disasters begin, with upbeat music and fake smiles. Jason Sterling stood at the front like he was about to announce a promotion. Hunter stood beside him wearing sneakers that cost more than my first car. Jason smiled big. Team, today we enter a new era. We've been safe. We've been compliant. He said compliant like it was an insult. Then Hunter stepped up. Look, Hunter said, grinning. I've been analyzing our system and it's, honestly outdated. We have silos. Firewalls. Bottlenecks. My jaw tightened. Then he said the line that made the room go cold. So I pulled the raw datasets from our secure forecasting servers, and I fed them into a cloud learning model. A cloud model. A public cloud model. People stared at their shoes. Managers avoided eye contact. Engineers looked like they wanted to evaporate. Hunter kept going. We're going to generate real-time insights for the Pentagon. This is the future. Then he turned and pointed straight at me. And some people here, old guard, think security means locking everything in a box. Ryan, I'm talking about you. He smiled like it was cute. Security is speed. If we're faster than the enemy, we don't need walls. He got laughs. I didn't. Because I wasn't hearing a pitch. I was hearing a confession. Hunter had just admitted, in front of witnesses, that he moved classified data to a public environment. That's not innovation. That's how people go to federal prison. 2 hours later, HR called. Ryan, the VP of People said sweetly, can you come down? Bring your badge. Bring your badge. Universal Code 4, you're done. Jason Sterling was already in the office when I arrived. Hunter sat in the guest chair scrolling his phone like none of this mattered. Jason didn't even sit down. Ryan, he said, we've decided you're not aligned with the company's new direction. I folded my hands. My direction is federal compliance. Jason smiled like I was adorable. Hunter is building something extraordinary. And your attitude undermines that. I looked at Hunter. You uploaded classified datasets to a public cloud. Hunter rolled his eyes. Bro, it's AI. It's fine. Relax. Jason slammed his hand on the desk. Enough. You're fired. Effective immediately. HR slid papers toward me. 2-week severance if you sign the NDA. I didn't touch it. I won't be signing that, I said. Jason laughed. Then you leave with nothing. I stood up slowly and removed my badge. I placed it on the desk like a final warning. Jason leaned forward. Security will escort you out. And they did. Not because I was dangerous. Because I was inconvenient. I walked through the lobby while people pretended not to see me. Outside, the air felt sharper. Cleaner. Like the world was giving me space to watch the consequences unfold. My phone buzzed. A secure message, terminated. I typed back, yes. The reply came instantly, acknowledged. Protected witness status activated. Go home. Do not engage. We are moving. I sat in my truck and stared at the building. Hunter's silhouette was in the corner office window, gesturing like a king. He thought he'd won. He didn't realize he'd just fired the immune system. The next morning, I didn't go back. I sat at home with my secure laptop and waited. At 11:43 a.m., I got a call. A video feed popped up, grainy, encrypted, official. A man appeared on screen with eyes like stone. Mr. Matthews, he said. Director, I replied. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't need to. You were correct, he said. The subject exported data at 4:47 a.m. and attempted to route it through an external cloud relay. We contained the transmission. My stomach tightened. Contained how? He held my gaze. We created a controlled sandbox. He thinks he uploaded to the public internet. I exhaled. So the data didn't leak? It almost did, he said. He attempted to integrate the dataset with a third-party API and transmit it offshore. I stared at the wall. Hunter wasn't building a tool. He was building a disaster. The director leaned forward. Board meeting today? Yes, I said. Noon. Pentagon liaison expected. Good, he said. We'll be there. My phone buzzed again with a single message, 11:55. Park across from the building. Wait for signal. Then the call ended. No goodbye. No reassurance. Just instructions. At 11:30, I parked across the street from Foresight Analytics. I opened the live internal camera feed. The boardroom looked like a wedding for rich people, pastries, coffee stations, expensive smiles. Jason was pacing. Hunter was connecting his laptop to a massive screen. Today, Jason said, we secure the deal that sets us up for life. I sipped coffee and watched. Then the lobby camera changed. A uniformed military liaison walked in. Behind him came two black SUVs. Four men stepped out wearing suits that didn't fit like fashion. They fit like authority. They entered the building without speaking to anyone for longer than 3 seconds. The receptionist's face went pale. My phone buzzed. Move in. I stepped out of my truck and crossed the street. The day was sunny. Birds were chirping. It felt wrong, how normal everything looked. In the lobby, the receptionist saw me and whispered, Ryan. I thought you were fired. I looked at her calmly. I was. Then I nodded toward the elevator. They're here for the people who fired me. I rode the elevator up. The hallway was quiet except for distant voices. Hunter was mid-pitch when I reached the boardroom. I didn't step inside right away. I listened. Gentlemen, Hunter said confidently, what you're seeing doesn't just read data, it understands it. He typed something. A map appeared. Red dots flashed across a simulated grid. He smiled. See? Real-time vulnerability prediction. Cloud-powered. Then the screen flickered. The map froze. A red box appeared, connection terminated. Hunter blinked. 1 second. Wi-Fi glitch. Jason laughed nervously. You know live demos. The military liaison didn't laugh. The room went dead silent. Then the door opened. A man stepped in, calm as winter. He tossed a badge onto the table. It slid across the polished wood and stopped in front of Jason. I am Director Lucas, he said, voice flat. National Security Agency. Jason stood up like anger could protect him. This is a private meeting, it was, Lucas said. Now it's a federal crime scene. 2 agents stepped in behind him. Hunter tried to laugh. Is this a prank? Did Ryan? Lucas turned slowly. No, he said. This is not a prank. Then he looked toward the doorway. Mr. Matthews. That was my cue. I stepped into the room. Jason's face drained of color like someone pulled the plug. Hunter pointed at me. He did this. He sabotaged. One agent moved like a machine. Sit down. Hunter sat. Lucas tapped a folder. Your son exported classified datasets to a non-secure environment. Jason tried to speak. Tried. Nothing came out right. Lucas clicked a remote. The screen changed to footage from yesterday's all-hands meeting. Hunter on camera, smiling, I pulled the raw datasets from secure servers and fed them into a cloud learning model. Lucas paused it. Confession, he said. He clicked again. Audit logs appeared, timestamped, undeniable. Then one final file, Jason Sterling's credentials authorizing the override. Lucas looked at Jason like a man looks at a problem he's already solved. You facilitated unauthorized access to classified material. Jason's mouth trembled. We can fix, No, Lucas said. You can't. The board chair burst into the room, sweating, terrified. Jason. The contract is on hold. The SEC is calling. He stopped when he saw the agents. Mr. Chairman, the military liaison said, voice cold, your CEO just tried to run national security data through a public cloud. The chairman turned on Jason like a man waking up mid-fall. You're fired. For cause. Immediately. Jason stared at me like I'd betrayed him. I didn't smirk. I didn't celebrate. I just stood there while the truth did its job. Hunter started crying. Actual tears. Dad, do something. Jason couldn't even look at him. 2 agents escorted them out. No yelling. No drama. Just the sound of expensive shoes walking toward consequences. The board chair turned to Lucas, voice shaking. How do we survive this? Lucas didn't answer him at first. He looked at me. Then he said, your compliance officer is here. The board chair's eyes locked on mine. Ryan, he said. Name your terms. I held his gaze. 3 conditions. He nodded quickly. Anything. 1. Jason Sterling and Hunter Sterling never return. Not as employees, not as consultants, not as advisors. Gone. Done. 2. Cyber compliance reports directly to the board. No CEO interference. If I lock a system, it stays locked. Agreed. 3. Kevin Brooks gets protection and a raise. He tried to stop this. He's not taking the fall for their nepotism. The chair nodded. Done. Then I turned to the military liaison. If we restore protocols and leadership is removed, can we keep the contract? He studied me for a moment. Then, slowly, he said, probationary basis. That was the closest thing to mercy you get from men who deal in risk. I nodded once. Then we rebuild. That evening, I sat back at my desk. My credentials had been reinstated, with more access than before. I opened the system. I found DevAdmin 12. I disabled it permanently. Then I made fresh coffee. And for the first time in 2 days, my hands didn't shake. Because the lesson was simple, the biggest threat to security isn't hackers. It's arrogance. And arrogance always leaves a log.